we may fake it or anything like that. No, they're going to kick the ball to you, and 10 people, minus the punter, are all going to run down the field as fast as they can and try and get to you and knock your block off. And that is what he did very well as a return man. And just to give you an example, I mean, how I remember, I forgot the number, but I remember the Super Bowl when the Bears played the Colts, and the Colts received the ball. I mean, the Colts, won the toss. They were like, "Hey, we're going to kick off." And for whatever reason, Tony Dungy said, "You know what? We're not going to be scared of Devin Hester. Kick it to him. Kick it. Go ahead. Kick the ball to him." And they kicked the ball to Devin Hester, and I saw this brother return the touchdown. I mean, return the kickoff for a touchdown. And the place, I mean, my house, because that's where we were watching the Super Bowl, it went bananas. I mean, you had people that was on the Chicago side that was losing their mind, but then you had people that was on the Colts side. They were losing their mind too, because they was like, "Why would you do that? Why would you do that? This is something he does. This is what he specializes in. Returning kicks for touchdowns." So he leaves the Bears. He comes to Atlanta. I am very excited about that. To me, he always was a threat. He helped out the offense. He helped with field position. So the guy, I mean, he will be in the Hall of Fame. Just trust me. He will be in the Hall of Fame. It will take some time because they're not just going to let him in. We all know you got to serve your time, and it's politics and all that stuff that go with it. But he will be in the NFL Hall of Fame, and that is going to be a great moment. But I enjoyed watching him at the University of Miami. I enjoyed I grew up in Flint, Michigan, so everyone knows that I'm a Lions fan. And even though, I screamed at the TV, do not kick it to Devin Hester when he was with the Bears. It's just like the magical things that he did. You still have to respect it. And you just be like, man, that's a bad boy. Bad boy to do, the things that he could do. So Devin Hester, man, shouts out to him, man. We appreciate everything that you gave to the league and gave to us to entertain us, and hopefully, he can doing something else and everything, and everything be good, So let me send some love to some people that's in the chat room right now. My man Melvin, he is up in the building, so shouts out to Melvin, representing out of Michigan, residing in that Lansing, Michigan, where Michigan State Spartans roam the streets. My man Kyron is in the building. Patriots extraordinaire fan Grego is in the building, so shouts out to Grego. And the man, the myth, the legend, Georgia State alumnus, Sluggo is in the building, so shouts out to Sluggo. And my man Rough Buff, a.k.a. Foucault Shabazz, a.k.a. Bills Mafia, is also in the building. So appreciate you for joining up in here. Rough Buff. Brian Hills is in the building as well. So we got a lot of people joining. I think Brian Hill, he changed his avatar. It was, Woman Crush Wednesday. He went from that, and then he went and threw up that bird, them falcons, them dirty birds. So shouts out to Brian Hill as well. Grego said, and this is about the Devin Hester conversation we were just having, and you listened to the Wait a Minute show with your man Jelani J.B. Bodie. He said that the cameraman could barely keep up with Hester. Yeah, it was crazy. It was like some of the things that he would do was magical, and that's a good problem to have if you're a cameraman. If you can fake out the cameraman, that's a good problem to have. But shouts out to all the people that are in the chat room. So we'll get back to them as well. But we're going to move on into, we're going to stay in football, but we're going to move on to a different topic. So last week's game, we'll get into, a few of last week's game because I haven't been on, of course, since, last week. But this whole Tom Savage thing, I'm not going to talk about the game. I'm more talking about the situation. And if you have not heard about this, or if you have, chime in the Wait a Minute show chat room, and I'd like to get your opinion on this. But Tom Savage is out there. They're playing the 49ers, and The defense is trying to get to him. He's trying to get the ball off. He throws the ball. The defense tackle him. They slam him up against the ground. And you can obviously see him. His arms are in the air and both his hands are twitching, and you can tell something is not right. Something is not right about this guy. And he just took a pretty good hit. So 1 plus 1 equals, it's probably because he got tackled, and it's probably because, he's twitching because maybe he got a concussion, maybe he got something else, but whatever it is, he ain't right now, right? So they take him out the game, and then a few plays later, he comes back into the game. I'm going to say that again. Slammed on the ground, hands in the air, twitching, comes out of the game, and then a few plays later, he comes back. Now, the whole thing about this is supposed to be, they're supposed to evaluate him. He went under the tent, but he came back out, and they said he still wasn't right. So then they take him back out of the game. So at the end of the game, of course, reporters are going to be asking Coach Bill O'Brien, like, yo, what's the deal? So Bill is like, in so many words, he's like, yo, I'm the coach. I'm the coach. Yes, I look, into it, but I'm the coach. At the end of the day, I'm not the person that tell him to go back in or to stay out. There's other people for that. Now, he didn't name anybody specifically. He didn't go, to, pointing the finger or anything like that. Not directly, maybe indirectly. But here's my thing about this, because this has happened on more than one occasion. We talked about the Russell Wilson situation. Now, Russell Wilson said he was hit in the jaw. So he was just trying to get his jaw line back up. And he goes in the 10, he comes right back out. There's an investigation. There's an investigation on this whole Tom Savage thing too. My question on this is, and I heard it's me and Stephen A was actually on the same page with this question. My question is, the ref saw him, other players, other folks saw him. Okay, that's all right, but they're not paid to make observations. The NFL has specifically put people in place to keep an eye on this. Now, not only is the team doctors supposed to keep an eye on this, but, people said, well, hey, maybe the team pressured them to say, hey, look the other way and all this stuff. So they have independent people that is also supposed to monitor this on the field and up in the stand, up in the box, if you will. So I'm trying to figure out, with the way replay is done in this league, with the way there's been so much of a focal point on concussions and treating it correctly and noticing it and seeing the symptoms and all that, I'm trying to figure out how. Now, Russell Wilson, I could see what they were saying, like, hey, the refs thought he got hit. Russ said, no, he hit me in my jaw. It wasn't like that. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. I could see maybe where that could get construed. But this guy was laying on his back, twitching. How many folks that gets a concussion or concussed or whatever it is, or let me say a head injury, because we didn't know what it was at that time, that twitches? And you put him back in the game. This is what I'm getting at, ladies and gentlemen. People, go on and say, hey, this is football, man. It's a physical sport. They signed up for this. You are absolutely right when you say that. You are absolutely right. They signed up for it. They know what they're getting themselves into, and they assume the consequences and the repercussions of playing this sport. Exactly. I cannot debate that with you. I cannot disagree with you on there. But here's the issue that I have, is that, and this is what, to me, this is what I think the players are getting at, is that there are certain situations where they shouldn't be out on the field, or they should be looked at a little bit more in depth. And it may not be happening, and you're putting these guys out there. If you go to the doctor yourself and the doctor says, yo, you all right, you're going to walk out and be like, you know what? I feel great. Yeah, the doctor's right. Doctor said it. He's a doctor. She's a doctor. That's what they do. So if someone is telling them that, then they're going to believe it. And I think in certain situations, this is what players were talking about. Now, I'm not talking about the Tom Savage thing. I'm just saying, I'm using the Tom Savage as an example, is that you told him he was all right. Go back out there. It wasn't like Tom Savage said, get out my face, I'm going back out there, and he ran back out there. You told him he was all right. It takes a lot longer than a few plays to evaluate someone. And this is the problem that players are talking about. Carson Wentz, last one, we'll get into Carson Wentz a little bit later, but him diving in the end zone and all that stuff, yes, he put himself in that situation. He put himself at harm, with doing that. So if he did it, you get it. He assumes the responsibility. But if you get off the field and, it's like it rub some dirt in it, get back out there. So I just, there's people in place, and I just don't understand how people are missing these. And I'm sitting at home. Maybe I got the benefit of seeing, 5, 6, 7 different camera angles. Maybe not. Last week, the Falcons played the Saints Thursday night. I'm sitting in the stands, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sitting in the stands, and I see Alvin Kamara take that hit, and the way he responded after he took that hit, I forgot who hit him. I immediately leaned over to my cousin and I said, yo, I don't think Alvin is right now. Did you see how he kind of walked? And sure enough, he had a concussion. So I'm just thinking, if I'm in the stands and I can see that, then the people that are professionals in that, shouldn't they see that as well? That just baffles me, and it has to be done better. It has to be done more efficient, because you're having too many issues where the NFL is launching investigations, and you shouldn't be having to launch investigation for if someone did something correctly, or if they did, the protocol like they were supposed to. That's all I'm saying. Shouts out. Wait a minute. I think we got some more people that's in the chat room. So shouts out to, I saw Tiffany Sports and Hills. Appreciate you for dropping in. My man Cedric Galloway is in the building as well. And Clay, Black Women Vote Davis is also in the building. So appreciate you for joining here. Clay has like 9,000 different, names when he come in here. So it's always great, when he jumps into the chat room to see what he's putting, as a name. So Mac Farrell is in the building as well. So shouts out to Mac Farrell. But you're listening to the Wait a Minute Show with your host, Jelani JB Bodie. And I'm sorry, man. Jelani JB Bodie and my co-host, Lopan. Yes, Lopan, I haven't forgot about you. And we are talking about, sports and concussions and people, maybe missing the boat, But to me, that's what it is for me. I think you can't have people missing obvious situations like that. So when people say, oh, they signed up for it, you're absolutely right. I will not disagree with you, on that. But there are still certain things that you need to protect the player from themselves. Because Tom Savage is down there twitching. I don't think he's in his right mind at that point. So I don't think he is capable of maybe making the decision saying, you know what? I'm not right. So I'm going to go sit down. No. He's going to be like, I'm good. It's just they got to do better. They just got to do better. Too many investigations, on this. So we'll get back to football in just a moment, but we're going to jump into some NBA news.